Hey everyone, and welcome to the Babylon Chronicles, a podcast dedicated to taking a look at the inner workings, discussions, and shenanigans involved with making one of the world's most powerful, beautiful, simple, and open web rendering engines. My name is Jason Carter, also known as Pirate JC. I am joined by my co-host, David Katui, also known as
Delta Kosh. Hi,
Delta
people.
Kosh, the creator of
time,
Babylon.js.
I'm in my Microsoft Office, so it's a new setup, right? People may not know this one.
I
It's a
like
new
it.
setup. I am in my Microsoft Office. Yeah,
It suits you. It's less corporate than I might have thought it was.
of course.
Yeah, that's quite nice.
I don't have my diploma and all the stuff like a doctor in psychology or whatever, right?
So David, special
Yes.
episode this week.
Just
this
the
is
two
a
of us?
pretty, yeah, it's just the two of us, and this is a pretty important week.
Oh, yes.
We have something coming up on Thursday, don't we?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's Monday of this week. We have the release of Babylon.js 7.0 coming on Thursday of this week.
Yes.
So we
Babylon
thought,
7.0, baby. Let's just step back a bit, right?
I know.
7.0. So I look at some numbers, actually. Babylon.js was initially shipped to the world in 2014.
Yeah, that was the first version.
The first official version, because there was a Babylon Silverlight version before that was not JavaScript based.
We don't
right?
speak about that.
We
Yeah.
don't speak about that, right?
Right.
So the official release on the MSDN blog that I made was in 2014 for Internet Explorer 11, right?
Yep.
So 10 years ago, freaking 10 years ago.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's
And
incredible.
the Babylon team, the core team within Microsoft, like Microsoft employee getting paid to contribute to a free open source, started in 2017.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
7 years ago as well.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
7 years ago, and we're on version 7. It's
Yes.
kind of incredible.
Right.
So we thought we would take a little bit of a moment just to kind of give a little bit of an insight into, so what is a Babylon release?
Correct.
Both what to expect from any given release, and then what does it mean for us as a dev team and for the community at large? I guess we'll start by saying releases in and of themselves this is our biggest moment of the year, right?
Yes.
It is a culmination.
It's a celebration.
Yeah, celebration is a great word, a culmination of a year's worth of collected work from people both, paid to work on Babylon and also the greater community at large. Kind of us taking stuff that has been done over the last year for the platform and just celebrating it by calling it, hey, here is the next official kind of a version. But it hasn't always been like this. It used to be quite a bit different. And like a good dev platform, our processes have gotten better just as Babylon has gotten better.
And we grew, right? When I shipped 1.0, it was just me, right? So the release was like, I push on a button, put the sources on GitHub, wrote a blog and call it a day, right?
Yeah.
Then the team grew, the community grew, and we got more eyes, more people to work on it. And we used to have a mechanism that a release was a real release, in the sense that we used to have 2 releases a year, by the way. It's not the case anymore, but every 6 months we push the button. So, for instance, moving from 4 to 5 or 3 to 4 was not the case. We moved from 3 to 3.5 and 3.5 to 4, right? We used to have these intermediate releases. And one thing that is not the case anymore was that we used to have this alpha channel and beta channel. So people were able to stick with Babylon X, Babylon 4 or Babylon 5, while we were developing Babylon X+1.
Yeah.
And a big chunk of the community trusted us enough to be working and actually going in production with the beta branch, right? With the preview branch.
Yeah.
That being said, also some big companies and other people who may not be as adventurous as our community were staying with the stable branch.
Yeah.
The problem with that is like people could get caught off guard by moving from preview to stable when we did the release. And we end up having some of our users finding bugs on the preview release that became the stable release. Not a lot, but too much for our taste, right?
Yeah.
For release 6, 5, I can't remember, to be honest.
Starting with 5, I believe.
Starting with 5, okay. We need to double check the facts, but anyway, starting with 5, we decided to change that, meaning that we decided that there is no more a preview release. There is just a main constantly evolving branch.
Yep.
Interestingly, That means that 7.0 today is actually 6.58 in a trench coat, meaning that we will just promote the current active branch and name it 7.0. Two reasons for that. The first one is there is no more surprises. So people moving from 6 to 7, if that happens, can just be guaranteed that the branch was heavily tested because it's not behind a preview, so people are not afraid of it.
Right.
And the second reason is, you mentioned it, it's a celebration. It's a moment where we say, okay, let's pause now. Let's use JSON superpower to create a fancy trailer video, right, that people will love. I mean, I won't lie, that's probably what I prefer the most about a release. It's the video itself. And you know what? I know people are waiting for it. Now, I know that people say, like, it's not a release if there is no JSON super video, right? And so that culmination of, okay, we just called that release stable enough, and that's the new version. To be fair with you, I don't think there is a single partner. I could be wrong, but I don't think there is a single partner who is sticking on large numbers. Like, I'm gonna stick on 6 until I move to 7. The new way we work and the trust we have in our system, by the way, thanks Hanan for the build system.
Yeah.
It's people are following. Like, when you look around and you see new experiences, they are all on 6 point something already. And then we move to 7 as part of the process transparently.
Yeah, so I think it's really, really interesting to think about the idea of having preview and having stable. And if you are a enterprise organization where there's business at hand, using anything that says preview is going to be a risky, like if I were in somebody's shoes, I'd have risk around that. There'd be risk associated with that. So people would want to use the stable version in the past.
Yeah, and we said in the preview that it was not a preview in a sense that it's not stable, right? It's just a evolving version, right?
Yeah.
But the fact, you're right, the fact that it was preview prevented us to get more testers because they were like, oh, wait, preview means you are not sure of you. We were extremely sure of us because the preview moved to stable by just flipping a bit, right? We changed nothing. And we were applying the same amount of validation and test on any previews. And we needed to remove that preview.
That's right. Yeah. So the psychology of the word preview would imply that, oh, hey, maybe this isn't the most stable thing.
Which was,
in fact, it's actually the having a stable version and then a preview version implies the preview is not stable. So so we made a change. I believe it was with Babylon 5. And now the way that Babylon works is there is a new release of Babylon every week. Sometimes a couple of releases a week. And those releases of this core branch are oftentimes very small, like little bug fixes that we find throughout any given year or that the community finds. And then a big feture might come along at some random week.
6.10 to 6.11, we added Gaussian splats.
Right, exactly. Boom. And so the idea of a major version of Babylon kind of became an interesting thing. Well, it's like, well, if we're just releasing bug fixes next to big features and the next week you're going to have some massive thing, next week's going to be a small thing, then it kind of adds the question of what is a major release of Babylon? What does it mean? And realistically, it means two things for us. The first and by far the most important is that it represents a moment for our year where we can stop and say to the community, look at what has been accomplished. Look at what we as a huge group together from across the world have accomplished. And one of my personal favorite things about the release is seeing the energy from the community, the amount of demos that have been made every year or experimentations or big products that have taken on Babylon, and just to stop and say, like, hey, every year, let's not just keep going and forget about, let's pause and look back.
Exactly. It's exactly that. It's pause and look back because feature-wise, there is no difference between 7.0 and 6.58.
Yeah, right.
They are the same. Well, if we want to share the tiny details, I am doing one single additional thing when we move to 7.0. I have an old computer with no updates since forever. It's still running Windows 7, and I always run a set of demos on it. So no change on the hardware. The only change will be Babylon new version versus the previous one. And we use that to ensure that there is no performance regression. That's it. So I run 200 tests.
So this machine is like from like 1995.
almost, right? Yeah, it's a very old machine, right? And we keep it for that sake, right? To make sure that there is no difference. That's the only thing we don't do for every weekly release, right? But just to somehow give it a seal of approval. Okay, 6.0 got this performance sheet. 7.0 got this performance sheet. It has to be same or better, which was the case for 7.0. It's almost the same.
Right.
And so we say, okay, that's the seal of approval that we can add on top of 7.0. That's the only difference.
Yeah. So we can go back and benchmark through the course of this year, did performance degrade or was it equal or better? And that's an important thing to make sure because we never ever want that.
It's our duty.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, again, the first thing that a release really means for us is this culmination of just a pause, a look back, and a celebration with the community of everything that's been done. And we celebrate that in a couple of different ways. We'll come back to that in a minute. But the second thing is, and for all of you engineering nerds out there, the idea of just progressive iteration of something is not bad, but obviously you want to make plans. And so it's no different for us as a dev team. We want to have an annual cycle. A roadmap or a moment every year we stop and we say, cool, what does the next year look like? And what does the next 3 years look like for us? And continually having a moment where we say, cool, we're going to call this a year. We're going to say it's good. We're going to celebrate with the community. And then we're going to start to take in, we keep a list throughout the course of the year of all of the suggestions that have come in from the forum, that have come in from people using Babylon all over the world, things that they want to see get better, ideas that we have that we've been thinking about advancing on. And we take all these things together and we say, what does Babylon 8 look like? Or what will Babylon's next year look like? And we build out a roadmap based on that.
And that's exactly that. It's only organizational if you think about it, because we progress a version every week, like a minor version every week, right? And so, but for us as an engineering from an engineering standpoint, and even from the community, it's like, okay, this is the chunk of stuff we're gonna at least add to the release. To be fair with you, that chunk is always tiny at the beginning, and we are always like, oh yeah, okay, maybe the next release will not be that chunky.
Yeah.
And at the end, like Gaussian splat was not planned.
Right.
The new animation system was planned, I guess. NGE, not geometry editor, was not planned. Global illumination was not planned.
Right.
And if you look at the hero feature of 7.0, most of them were not planned. So even if we do that, stop and pause and look forward, we are so flexible that we adapt to what is coming. Because thinking a year ahead in engineering, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's a famous quote. I don't remember who gets attributed to it, but it's the planning is priceless, but plans are useless. And the idea being
that's true, right? See,
we have to plan. You have to think about what it is you want to go after.
You have to have a goal.
You can't be married to that. You have to be flexible enough to say something important has come in. Web GPU is a thing that's come in this year. Okay, well, we may want to support that.
Maybe we're going to carve out some room for it, right? Of course.
Right. Hey, Apple's going to release a headset this year. We may want to support that. Okay, so things happen, things come up, so you have to be flexible. Let's shift gears very briefly, and let's talk about the evolution of what's happened from the mechanics of a release. So you mentioned the very first version of Babylon, you did what? You put some source code up onto GitHub and wrote a blog post.
Yeah, I push my code on GitHub, make it public, write a blog post. That was a version 1.0.
Yeah.
And to be fair with you, it's not me being, I'm looking for the English word for that, like, oh gosh, anyway, shy. But it's not shy, but the opposite of arrogant. Modest. It's not
honest. Humility.
Yeah, it's not that, right? I literally believed when I did that blog post that it was like, okay, this week I'm going to write that blog post, push that, and let it go to oblivion, right?
Yeah.
And gosh, no, my gosh, it was welcomed by the community in a way that made me think, okay, maybe there is something here. Maybe the value I am bringing with that engine are different enough from other engines.
Yeah.
So maybe there is something to build there. And to be fair with you, the 3 first years were super slow, right? It was me and some people in the community very slowly building something. And at some point it grew to things that exponentially grew. But yeah, so the very first version were extremely non-professional.
Yeah. Well, they got the job done. That's the point.
Well,
They got the
right,
job
but
done.
that there was no thinking in it, right? At some
Right.
point, I say, okay, I'm fed up, and I am at version 1.19. You know
Yeah.
what? Tomorrow I'm gonna ship 2.0, right?
I like it. I like it. It's a good philosophy. And we've come a long way. So today, I like to describe our launch morning as what might be walking into NASA mission
Of
control.
course, yes, it's mission control,
It
right?
is, we have a list of things, a checklist of things that have to
Mhm.
happen in sequential order that is probably 6 pages long of things that we do. Not all of them the most significant in the world. Like make sure that a YouTube video is first released publicly before we send the tweet out that has the video in it.
And then the
And the
blog, and then the website is
right,
updated, and then
so
the forum is updated, and then all the versions are updated on NPM. I mean, a lot of
yeah.
stuff needs to happen. It's literally like NASA mission control. I'm with you.
It does. It has that vibe. So the whole dev team gets together in the morning on a Thursday, and we release on Thursdays intentionally, so we're not releasing on a Friday.
Yeah, for
If
some
something
reasons.
goes wrong, we have a day to dive into it and fix anything that's maybe we might have missed. Um, and it really does have this. I think we call it a TikTok, though we kind of
Yes.
have to move away from that. But it is the checklist of items that need to, and it's really, really cool to see everybody come together. We're all over the world, and while we converse daily and solve problems together daily, it kind of feels like we're all in the room together at the same time. We're about to launch this thing, and we have to make sure every single button is I
Is
is
pushed
dotted
at
and
the
T
right
is crossed.
moment. And then we
Yeah,
test, and we go to the forum, we go to the website. Oh my gosh, there is a missing image there. So we
that's right.
mix stuff together. To be fair and honest, we are getting better on that, right? I remember probably 5.0 was kind of hectic, and then we fixed the process. 6.0 was almost super smooth. I think there was one issue, but it was fixed super quickly.
Yeah.
7.0 seems to be like
Yeah.
smooth sailing already.
Yeah, don't knock on some wood, don't jinx it.
Jinx, jinx, jinx,
Yeah.
jinx.
No, you're right. Just like any engineering thing, you learn by
Sure.
trying and doing things and experimenting. And so as we've gotten, done a few releases, got a few under our belt, we get better and better and better. My personal favorite failure that I have was with the 5.0 release. Pretty sure it was with the 5.0 release where we made a YouTube video, and we'll talk about the videos in a second, but we made a video that was kind of advertising a celebration piece announcing the new
The
release.
video. It's not a video. It's the video. People are waiting for it. It's like Star Wars episode 8 or 9, right?
It's the release video. Yeah. And then we put it on YouTube, and YouTube is used, that link is used for several things, but on Twitter, where we do
Oh,
a bulk
yes.
of our announcements, or X as it's now called, we don't link to the YouTube video. We actually put the video in the tweet directly so
But the
that
video
we've
was
seen
really
higher
long.
engagement. Yeah. And the video for 5.0 is too long. And so I had about 20 minutes to cut down a video from 3 minutes to 2 minutes and 20 seconds or whatever the limit was. And it was a bit of a panic moment, but we learned our lesson. And now we
Yes.
have some mechanisms to make sure that things are
Well, yeah,
set up
yeah.
ahead of time.
Yeah.
So it's good.
And I know, like, for you cutting a video that you pour all your soul on in, and like your love, like it's like, hey, can you remove one arm, please?
Yeah, yeah, it could be a bit tough for sure. The release videos are an interesting one. They in and of themselves have come a long, long way. A lot of people don't really know this piece. For me, the videos are a labor of love because
Oh, yes.
they are a way to celebrate the work that everyone has done. So we say, we talk about a release as the look at the new features that are coming. That's actually only 1/3 of what we put into the video, to a release video. Another third is we like to feature major partners across the world, whether that be Microsoft applications or other companies outside of Microsoft who have used Babylon in really cool and unique and interesting ways over the last year. And then also another third that is dedicated to just like the community. And for the last 3 years, I believe, or 3 releases, we've been asking the community to submit things that they've been working on. And I take it personal if I can't try and fit in all of them. I mean, I really they're just so amazing, all the stuff that everybody does.
And spoiler alert, for this year video, I genuinely think that the quality bar for our community videos went higher. Honestly, it's not that it was bad in the past, but I see a improvement in quality, visual rendering, and everything in all the partners that we are showcasing right now. It's quite interesting.
Every demo, every creation, every experiment that people have done, it has better lighting and better
Yeah,
materials, and
exactly
it just
right. It looks
looks
better.
gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one other very, very nerdy thing about the videos that's kind of fun. Not a lot of people know this, but we actually go
I know.
so far with these videos that we have relationships with certain record labels.
Yeah, and I mean,
And
maybe opening a parenthesis before you introduce that,
yeah.
I think you and we are on the same page. The visual quality of the video is obviously important.
Yeah.
But the music, it's why we are not just like any other videos. Like the music, the pace of the music, the way you manage to cut everything and have a final product where the music is intertwined in a way that it's almost perfect, are key. Hence why.
Yeah. So the music is I call it the backbone of these release videos.
Yes.
It sets the emotional tone of what we're trying to convey and get some excitement for the release and what the community has done. Because we've had some success with the videos, and because I think they have resonated with the community, and when we're able to cultivate some relationships with some record labels and some artists, some key artists. And so all of the music that we use is we have license to use that music. We have permission to use that music. We work directly with mainstream recording artists who are just happy to support an open source project. And frankly, in some cases are so excited by just the energy around Babylon that they're just like, heck yeah, this is super cool. We want to support this, including some pretty big names that that are pretty modern and hot right now. And so that's been something that's been we carefully crafted and nurtured and cultivated, but I think kind of breathed some life into the videos a little bit.
Let's be clear. Video is JSON, right? No one besides you works on that. It's all you.
No, the video is an amazing amount of work that an entire community has done. I just get to put a little cherry on top of it.
On the video, the music, the pace, the way it's working, everything, the video is crafted, yes, from the content coming from the community. No worries about that. But you are the director.
It's a joy. It's a privilege for sure. It's absolutely a joy. I think the last thing to kind of mention a little bit about this, we've hinted at this before, but we are passionate about the Babylon community. You know, we love this product, but one of the reasons we get out of bed every single day is to make something that people care about and want to use, and we genuinely
something useful, right?
Yeah.
Like when I see there is no better, honestly, there is no better feeling in my professional world than seeing a community member coming with, hey, I did that with Babylon.js, and it helps me feed my family because now I can make money out of it, or I'm proud of it. It's like there is nothing above that. Nothing.
Yeah. There's nothing that beats it.
No.
Nothing that beats it. And I think for us, on a very personal note, and I'll represent the whole team here in this, the release represents something deeply emotional for us
only emotional, actually.
in connecting and really thanking a community that has poured their love and heart into this platform. Babylon would not be what it is today without the incredible energy, the features, the fixes, the testing,
tests,
the passion,
PR, everything.
The helping everyone on the forum. The community, the Babylon community, is such an incredible, special gift in a world where the internet is so toxic. This stands as this beacon of light of just helpfulness and kindness and joy. And so for us, a release is, yes, some cool stuff has come to Babylon, but it's almost more than that. It's more about a thank you
to the community. Yeah.
It's a giant thank you. So if you're listening out there, know that we put our love, our heart, our joy into the process of releasing because we care about Babylon, the technology, but also because we care about every single one of you.
Yes, I double down on that. It's something we protect, right?
Yep.
It's not always easy at Microsoft to protect this kind of open source, and that's something we pour our soul in every day to make sure that the community is well served and everyone is happy with that. And you're right, this is the cornerstone. The video, the release is the cornerstone of, we all came together. We brought something to the world.
Yep.
That was better after than before, right? And you're right. The community and the forum is something I am very proud of. Being able to establish a highland of kindness in a world where we have 4chan, we have we have Twitter, we have all this stuff, right? Like, so that's something I cherish and I will protect at all costs. Like, it's a deal, it's a hill I'm willing to die for. Like, and to be fair with you, the ban hammer is extremely rare in the Babylon world. I won't say it's inexistent, but it's very rare.
The ban
hammer, yes.
I like it.
Banning people, like, it's very rare.
Yeah, like
maybe twice a year.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And those are probably bots.
And that probably was,
Again, just a massive thank you to every single one of you for all that you do for pouring into Babylon. We hope that 7.0, the release, that the video, that is a celebration of what you've done. Oh, and one other shout out too. This is a unique release in one particular instance, which is of the new features that are coming that we're celebrating with 7.0, that are coming with 7.0. This has the most amount that have been created and contributed by the community at large, meaning not one of the core members of the full-time dev team. And
you know what?
Is awesome.
I do that. I realized that. And I also, it was a interesting retrospective for me, because for a long time, the new feature were almost the team. And before that, it was almost me, right? Like just... And my hope at the beginning was like, gosh, guys, do you want to contribute? Because that's what you want as a creator of a product like that, right? Hey, I set up the pace. This is all the tools in place. Please contribute, because together we're going to be stronger.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that time, this release, it's the culmination of that. It's like, it's mind-blowing. I can't
fathom. For sure. I mean, from grease line to
MMD support,
to ground projection, MMD, the seamless texture decals. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. This has been the most amount of features contributed by the community at large, and it's awesome. It's just awesome.
And maybe a tiny bit of, not sadness, but I want to think about John Q. Right, he was one of our lovely member, and unfortunately he left us. But his legacy is going on, and I'll tell you why. He was working on the point cloud rendering system. And this morning, a community member came and improved the system. So what John was working on as a legacy that it's still living in Babylon.js, of course, is actually improved and taken care of by someone else in the community. So the baton was
passed.
And that I was a bit emotional in my answer on the forum, but it's like, oh my gosh, he would have loved that.
Yeah, it really is kind of an incredible thing, and each person in our community plays a key role in making it special. So
you leave something, even if you are not there anymore, right? You are something that it's part of your legacy that will goes on.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's making the world a better place, or at least we hope
exactly
so.
Right. Think about that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. With that, I think that's probably about all the time we have. We hope if you're listening to this, you have an opportunity to join us in the celebration this Thursday as we do the release, as we submit it to the world, and hope you enjoy the release video and that you consider it a great celebration of all the incredible work that you've done. And one last final thank you so much for all that you do as individuals to make the Babylon community and the Babylon technology as special as it is. So thank you very much.
Thank you for being there.
Absolutely. And with that, David, I think we'll call it a podcast. We got a release to get back to.
Yeah, I have some checks to do.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.